looking at our manure pit, so based on the videos that we just watched, what are some of the things that you notice about our manure pit?
It leaks.
Okay, so it leaks. Okay, that's one. What's something else that you, just an observation about our manure pit?
It's dry. It's messy.
It's dry. It's messy. It's dry. So what kind of manure? What's this stockpile? Yeah. The dry, the solid stockpile. Okay. What else? What's it sitting on? Concrete. So it's that impervious surface that they talked about in that last video. Okay. What else? The concrete on the bottom. What's around the sides? Concrete wall. Okay. What else? What was one of the factors in waste management that they talked about that we need with a manure pit? Look out maybe that way. What's out there? Okay. Yes, the horses are out there, so that's where we keep live animals, right? So that's our pasture. It did talk about if we're spreading, if there's live animals out there. But what's out there in the middle? A creek, a stream. And so it talked about if there's a water supply, what needs to be between your manure pit and the water supply?
Concrete.
No, not concrete. What's between here and there?
The fence.
Not the fence.
The grass.
The grass. And they called it what? What did they call that?
Soil.
No. Filter. Anybody? Vegetative filter strip. A vegetative filter strip. So if we're just making some observations about our manure pit, bear with me here. The breeze is here. It's fine. So we've got our manure pit here, right? It is a stockpile. So we're storing our manure on concrete. We've got the concrete pillars around the side that case it in on three sides, right? There is, we are above the stream down there between the freshwater source and our manure pit. There is a long vegetative filter strip. So those are just some observations about our manure, right? And the way that we store our manure. Some pros and some cons. So someone, let's say some cons of the way that we store our manure. Someone said it's messy. It is. It stockpiles up here. So one of the things that we could maybe improve upon is removing it or spreading it sooner or faster than what we do. But what did the video say? There's certain times that we can do that, right? And so we should probably look into getting on a schedule of when we spread our manure, right? What would be another con so it's messy, so it piles up.
It's leaking with nowhere to leak to.
It's leaking with nowhere to leak to. So over recently, all this concrete has been added. So up on that ramp, all of this concrete. Before it was just kind of like gravel over there, and so it would kind of soak into the ground and head down the hill. That's where that vegetative filter strip is there. But now with this concrete, it does just leak out, and so there's nowhere for it to really go, right? And so now it's just kind of hanging out here. You can see as it goes down, it filters. You can even kind of follow the line, right?
Why is it so dark?
Because it is mixed. It's mixed with the feces, with the poop.
It's like
It is runoff. Yeah, it is runoff. And so the con or the danger of that is that if we follow these lines, it follows down, it hits the corner there, and it'll go down to that drain, right? Or it's going to start to go out this way, and it goes and follow that line out into the soil, the ground, and it's just going to start to leach down into the stream. Also, that drain, if it's raining and the water is washing it off, it goes down that drain. That drain leads out into the pasture. And so now all of this manure runoff is finding its way out into the pasture where our animals graze, right? And so those are cons of our current manure pit. What are some improvements based on the two videos that we just watched that you think we could add to our manure pit? So the cons that we talked about, the runoff, the messiness. What are some things you think we could add to this to improve what we currently have?
We can make it bigger.
We could make it
Higher walls. Yeah,
bigger, higher walls. Okay, so that might keep it in. What's something else? So what is causing this runoff, do you think? The rain. And
so like we could shelter it?
We could shelter it, meaning put a tarp over it. That was in the video, right? What else? There was another picture in one of those videos, a tarp, but there was also what?
Like a roof.
A roof, yeah. So it would be covered
Like
or shielded, like a shed, shielded from the rain.
Why don't we use that one?
We could, we could spread it out and have this whole part. We set a higher wall, right? That would help contain it.
Like those blocks right there and move them.
Okay. Move that that center
yeah,
wall
just
out.
Make them bigger.
We kind of talked about it, but removing it sooner than what it is now. Get it on a cycle of taking it off and spreading it onto a field, which we do now with some of the neighboring farms. They do come and they pull off our manure, but maybe more frequently. Couple of factors that we have to think about in manure waste management. So the video talked about it. We need to consider obviously the runoff, right? But what else? What did they say? Because we have neighbors, what are some of the things that we need to consider? The odor. Yep. Right now, do you smell anything?
No.
No. For good or for bad, if you can smell something right now. But no, you can't smell anything right now because of the cold, but think about if this big pile was here and it was the summer and if the heat was baking on it, right? What else would be caused from so there's odor, what else would be produced? Flies, yeah. So pests, horse flies, pests, and we have to think about not only we're inside, right? The flies come in and come inside, but also affect our animals. And then what's one other thing that they talked about with our neighbors or how adjacent it is to the road? What's something else? Kind of partners in with all of the stuff we've already said. It's messy. We need to spread it sooner. Anyone remember? What? Regulations is a factor, but the aesthetics. So we also have to think about the odor with our neighbors, the aesthetics, and if the road, if people driving by see this huge pile of manure, this huge pile of poop, right? They're not going to think very highly of our farm if we've got all this poop and all this odor and all these flies and it's nasty, right? They're not going to think that we take care of our farm and our resources and our animals very well. So, all right, so we've talked about some pros of our manure pit is that it's on the concrete, right? We said that. It's got the walls. It has that vegetative filter strip, right? That's a must between a manure pit and a source of water. And then what are some of the cons that we talked about? The runoff. Yep. The smell could be one. The aesthetic or how much it piles up. The flies and the pests. Yep. All right. Anyone wants to add to the manure pit or any observations that we have? What about this lovely day? No. Okay. All right. We good?
Yeah.